What if the freedom you've been seeking isn't out there in the world, but right here, in the way you see your own mind? Jiddu Krishnamurti, a 20th century Indian philosopher, believed exactly that. He wasn't a guru with a following or a mystic with rituals. He was a quiet revolutionary. A man who spent his life teaching that true freedom comes from observing your thoughts, your fears, your whole inner world without judgment. You've lived long enough to carry a lifetime of experiences, joys, regrets, maybe a few scars that still ache. Krishnamurti's quiet revolution offers a way to let go of that baggage, to find peace not by changing the world, but by changing how you see it. This is a deep journey in 6 steps through his most powerful teachings, from breaking free of mental conditioning to living with total awareness, all backed by modern science that shows his insights work. No fluff, just real wisdom for men who've seen enough to want clarity, freedom, and a lighter way to live. Let's explore what Krishnamurti knew and how it can change your days. Chapter 1. Krishnamurti's Break from Tradition. Jiddu Krishnamurti was born on May 11, 1895, in Madanapala, a small town in southern India, into a modest Brahmin family. He was the 8th of 11 children, a frail boy often sick with malaria, who seemed an unlikely candidate for greatness. His father, a government clerk, was a devout member of the Theosophical Society, a spiritual organization blending Eastern and Western mysticism. In 1909, at 14, Krishnamurti's life changed forever. While playing on a beach near the Theosophical headquarters in Adyar, Chennai, he was spotted by Charles Leadbeater, a prominent theosophist, who saw a pure aura around the boy and declared him the future world teacher, a messiah-like figure meant to lead humanity. The Theosophists, led by Annie Besant, took Krishnamurti under their wing, forming the Order of the Star in the East to prepare him for his role. They raised him in luxury, sent him to Europe for education, and groomed him to be a spiritual leader. He was taught languages, English, French, Sanskrit, and introduced to Western philosophy, while being trained in meditation and theosophical teachings. But Krishnamurti wasn't comfortable with the role. He felt the weight of expectations, the pressure to be someone he wasn't. In 1922, at 27, he had a profound experience while meditating in Ojai, California. A spiritual awakening he later described as a deep connection to the other, a boundless awareness beyond words. By 1929, Krishnamurti had had enough. On August 3rd, in a speech to 3,000 members of the Order of the Star at their annual camp in Ulmen, Holland, he dissolved the organization meant to herald him as the world teacher. He stood before the crowd, his voice steady, and said, "I maintain that truth is a pathless land, and you cannot reach it by any path whatsoever, by any religion, by any sect. I do not want followers." He rejected all gurus, dogmas, and systems, including the Theosophical Society that had raised him. Besant was heartbroken, but Krishnamurti was free. He spent the next 57 years traveling the world, India, Europe, the US, giving talks, writing books, and founding schools, until his death in 1986 at 90 in Ojai. Krishnamurti's break was radical. He didn't just reject theosophy, he rejected all authority in spiritual matters. In his book Freedom from the Known, he writes, "You must be a light unto yourself." He believed no one can lead you to truth. You have to find it by observing your own mind, your own life, without anyone's help. This wasn't easy for his audience to hear. People wanted a guide, a path, but Krishnamurti insisted there was none. He'd say, "The moment you follow someone, you cease to follow truth." You've lived through expectations, maybe from family, work, or even yourself. Krishnamurti's saying you don't need them. Ever felt the freedom of letting go of what others think you should be? Chapter 2. Awareness without judgment. Krishnamurti's core teaching is awareness, observing your mind without judging, without trying to change it. He says most of us are asleep, caught in habits, fears, and reactions we don't even see. In a 1965 talk in Seyanen, Switzerland, he says, "To be aware is to watch your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, without condemnation or justification, just to look." He'd sit with audiences, sometimes thousands, sometimes a small group in a garden, and ask them to try it. Look at your anger, your sadness, your joy. Don't label it good or bad. Just see it. This isn't passive, it's active, a kind of radical attention. Krishnamurti believed that when you observe without judgment, you break free from the past. In his book, The First and Last Freedom, he writes, "The moment you judge, you are no longer aware. You are caught in the past, in memory." For him, awareness is the key to freedom because it lets you see your conditioning, your habits, your fears, your shoulds, and when you see them clearly, they lose their power over you. Science backs this up. Krishnamurti's awareness without judgment is the heart of mindfulness, a practice now studied extensively. A 2019 study in mindfulness found that 65-plus adults who practice non-judgmental awareness, observing thoughts without labeling them, had 20% less anxiety and 15% better emotional health after 8 weeks. The brain's default mode network, which drives overthinking, quiets down when you stop judging, per a 2020 study in Neuroimage. For seniors, this is gold. A 2021 study in the Journal of Gerontology showed that 65-plus men practicing mindfulness had 12% lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone that can spike blood pressure and strain your heart, and 10% better sleep quality with more deep REM cycles. Krishnamurti's approach was unique. He didn't teach meditation as a technique, but as a way of life. He'd say, meditation is not something you do for 20 minutes. It's how you live every moment. In the 1970s, he held dialogues in Brockwood Park, England, where he'd sit with small groups, often outdoors, and guide them to observe their minds in real time. One man, a 66-year-old retired doctor named Peter, attended a session in 1975. He was angry. His wife had left him, and he felt like a failure. Krishnamurti asked him to watch his anger without labeling it. "Don't call it bad. Don't push it away. Just look." Peter later wrote in a letter, "I saw the anger, but I wasn't the anger. It passed, and I felt free for the first time in years." Krishnamurti's teachings spread through his talks and books. Over 80 books, thousands of recorded dialogues. He founded schools like the Krishnamurti Foundation in Ojai to teach children this awareness from a young age. A 2022 report from the foundation notes that over 10,000 people attend their programs annually, showing his ideas still resonate. His dialogues weren't lectures. He'd ask questions, push people to look for themselves. In a 1980 talk in Madras, he said, "I'm not here to give you answers. I'm here to help you ask the right questions. You've got patterns. Maybe you snap when you're stressed or dwell on past mistakes, like that time you didn't take a job offer 30 years ago." Krishnamurti says, watch those thoughts, don't fight them. Ever tried just looking at your mind without judging what you see? Chapter 3. Freedom from Conditioning. Krishnamurti's second truth is that you're conditioned by society, family, culture, even your own past, and freedom comes from seeing it. He says your mind is a tape recorder, playing the same old songs. I'm a failure. I need to be liked. I should be this way. In a 1970 talk in London, he says, you are the result of your past, your culture, your education, your fears. To be free, you must see this conditioning, not as a concept, but in yourself. He'd push audiences to look at their lives. Why do you think this way? Why do you fear failure? Why do you need approval? In his book, Think on These Things, he writes, freedom is not the absence of commitments, but the ability to choose what is true for you. For Krishnamurti, conditioning isn't just external. It's your habits, your reactions, your whole way of seeing the world. Seeing it clearly, without trying to change it, breaks its hold. Science supports this. Krishnamurti's idea of seeing conditioning aligns with cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which teaches you to identify and challenge automatic thoughts. A 2019 study in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that 65-plus adults using CBT to identify negative thought patterns, like, I'm a failure, had 18% less depression and 15% better emotional health after 12 weeks. A 2021 study in Psychology and Aging showed that seniors who practiced thought observation, watching their mental habits without reacting, had 12% lower anxiety and 10% better focus, with improved connectivity in the brain's prefrontal cortex, the area tied to self-regulation. Krishnamurti's method was practical. He'd sit with people and guide them to see their conditioning in action. In a 1965 dialogue in Sanen, a man asked, I'm afraid of losing my job. What do I do? Krishnamurti replied, don't fight the fear. Look at it. Why are you afraid? What's behind it? The man realized his fear wasn't about the job. It was about his identity as a provider, a role he'd been conditioned to value. Seeing it, he felt lighter, not because the fear vanished, but because he wasn't controlled by it anymore. Krishnamurti's teachings often clashed with the spiritual norms of his time. In India, gurus were revered. People wanted a master to follow. Krishnamurti rejected that. In 1931, he told a crowd in New York, I am not your teacher. You must find truth through the mirror of your own mind. This made him enemies. Some called him arrogant, others a fraud. But it also drew millions. By the 1980s, his talks in places like Bombay and Ojai drew thousands, and his books sold over 2 million copies worldwide, per the Krishnamurti Foundation's 2022 report. You've been conditioned, maybe to always put others first, or to feel you're not enough if you don't have a certain status. Krishnamurti says, look at that, see it clearly. Ever notice the shoulds in your mind, and what happens when you just watch them? Chapter 4. The Quiet Mind. Krishnamurti's third truth is the quiet mind. When you observe without judgment, your mind naturally settles. He says most of us are caught in thought chatter, endless loops of worry, planning, regret. In a 1980 talk in Madras, he says, a quiet mind is not a dead mind. It's alive, alert, but free of conflict. He didn't teach meditation as a technique with steps. He saw that as another form of conditioning. Instead, he said meditation is a way of living. Be aware every moment, whether you're washing dishes, walking, or talking. He'd guide people to try it. Sit, watch your breath, your thoughts, your feelings, without trying to stop them. In his book, Meditations, he writes, meditation is to be aware of every thought and feeling, to understand the whole process of the mind. This isn't about escaping life. It's about being fully in it. He'd say, when you're angry, don't suppress it. Don't indulge it. Just watch it. See what happens. He believed that true quiet comes when you stop fighting your mind, when you let it be. Science backs this up. Krishnamurti's approach mirrors mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, which teaches non-judgmental awareness. A 2018 study in the Journal of Neuroscience found that 65-plus adults practicing MBCT for 8 weeks had 15% less activity in the amygdala, the brain's stress center, and 10% more activity in the prefrontal cortex, tied to focus and calm. A 2020 study in mindfulness showed that seniors who practiced non-judgmental awareness had 12% lower cortisol levels and 8% better sleep quality, more deep sleep, less waking at night. A 2021 study in aging and mental health found that 65-plus men doing daily mindfulness had 14% lower anxiety and 10% better emotional regulation. They didn't get as rattled by bad news, like a health scare or a family argument. Krishnamurti's quiet mind isn't just about sitting. It's about living. In the 1970s, he'd walk with students at his school in Rishi Valley, India, pointing out the beauty of a tree, the sound of a bird, asking them to listen without labeling. One student, a 15-year-old boy named Ravi, later wrote in a memoir, Krishnamurti taught me to hear the silence between sounds. I'd never noticed it before. In 1985, a 68-year-old American named John attended a talk in Ojai. He'd been a lawyer, always stressed, even in retirement. Krishnamurti asked him to watch his stress without fighting it. John tried it, sat in his garden, observed his racing thoughts, and felt them slow. It was like a storm passing, he said in a 1986 interview. I felt quiet, really quiet for the first time. Krishnamurti's schools, like Rishi Valley and Brockwood Park, still teach this awareness. A 2022 report from the Krishnamurti Foundation notes that over 5,000 students globally attend their programs annually, learning to live with a quiet mind. His talks, available on YouTube, have millions of views. Osho search in reports over 1 million views for his 1980s Sanan talks alone as of 2023. Your mind's busy, maybe worrying about your health or replaying a past mistake, like that time you didn't speak up at work. Krishnamurti says don't fight it, just watch. Ever tried sitting quietly, observing your thoughts like a bystander? Chapter 5. Living Fully. A1065+. Krishnamurti's fourth truth is to live fully, right now, at any age. He says most of us live in the past or future, regretting yesterday, worrying about tomorrow, but never in the present. In a 1974 talk in Brockwood Park, he says, to live fully is to be completely attentive to what is in this moment. He'd ask audiences, are you here now? Or are you thinking about what's next? For him, living fully means being totally present, whether you're eating, walking, or talking to your grandkid. He also says, don't let fear stop you. Fear of failure, of death, of what others think. In his book on fear, he writes, fear is the movement of thought. When you observe fear without reaction, it dissolves. He'd tell people to face fear by watching it, not running from it. A 2020 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that 65+ adults who practiced present moment awareness had 18% higher life satisfaction and 12% less depression. They spent less time ruminating, more time enjoying what was in front of them. A 2021 study in death studies showed that seniors who faced their fear of death through reflection, thinking it's part of life, had 15% less death anxiety and 10% better emotional health. Krishnamurti lived this. In the 1960s, he traveled the world, India, Europe, the US, giving talks, often to thousands without notes, speaking from pure awareness. He'd walk into a room, sit down, and start. Let us look together at this thing called fear. He didn't prepare. He was present, every word flowing from the moment. In 1985, at 90, he gave his final talk in Madras, frail but clear, saying, live with a mind that is free, a heart that is full. He died a month later on February 17, 1986, in Ojai, from pancreatic cancer, leaving a legacy of living fully, fearlessly. His schools embody this too. At Rishi Valley, students are taught to observe nature, their thoughts, their relationships, without judgment. A 2022 study by the Krishnamurti Foundation found that alumni reported 20% higher emotional resilience in adulthood, crediting the school's focus on present moment living. One alumnus, a 67-year-old Indian man named Anil, said in a 2021 interview, Krishnamurti taught me to live now. I stopped worrying about my past mistakes, started enjoying my days. You've lived long, maybe spent years planning, worrying, missing the moment. Krishnamurti says be here now. Feel the coffee in your hand, hear the birds outside. Ever tried living one day fully present without fear? Chapter 6. Your Awareness Practice. Krishnamurti's truths, awareness, freedom from conditioning, a quiet mind, living fully, aren't just ideas. They're tools for your life. Science shows they work. A 2023 study in mindfulness found 65+ men practicing non-judgmental awareness for 5 minutes daily had 15% less stress, 10% better focus, and 8% better sleep after 8 weeks. A 2021 study in psychology and aging showed seniors observing their thoughts without reaction had 12% lower anxiety. A 2022 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found those living fully present reported 20% higher life satisfaction. They felt more alive, less stuck. Here's your 5-minute Krishnamurti practice. Try it tonight. Sit in a quiet spot, your chair, your garden. Close your eyes, breathe slow. 4 seconds in, 4 out. For 2 minutes, watch your thoughts. Don't judge, don't change them, just observe. Maybe you're thinking about a health worry or a memory of your kids when they were young. Let them pass like leaves on a stream. That's awareness, seeing without reacting. A 2020 study in Neuroscience Letters found this reduces stress by 10%. Next, for 1 minute, notice a conditioning. Maybe I should be busy or I'm not enough. Don't fight it, just see it. That's freedom from the past. A 2021 study in mindfulness found this cuts anxiety by 12%. Then, for 1 minute, be fully present. Feel your breath. Hear the sounds around you. Notice the chair under you. That's living fully. A 2022 study in psychology of aging found this boosts life satisfaction by 15%. And with a deep breath, maybe a smile, Krishnamurti would say, be alive in this moment. This isn't theory, it's your freedom. Krishnamurti knew it. Science proves it. A 2023 study in the Journal of Gerontology found 65-plus men doing this daily for a month felt 18% more at peace. They stopped fighting their minds, started living. One man, a 70-year-old retired farmer, started this practice after losing his brother in 2022. I stopped regretting the past, he shared in a meditation group. I started noticing the sunrise, my coffee. I'm here now. You've got years left. Why not live them free, aware fully? Try it, 5 minutes. What do you see when you look without judging?